Hi, good evening. Our topic for tonight is whether we should legalize euthanasia. Have you been taking care of yourself lately? In a scale of 1 to 10, how do you love yourself? How much? Have you experienced losing your loved ones? You know, I lost all my grandparents when I was really young. And I remember my parents and my uncle were in a situation whether they should or should not pull my grandmother's respirator. It was really a hard decision to make. Do you know what euthanasia is? Do you think we should legalize it? In my speech, I will discuss the history of euthanasia and the different pros and cons about this matter. So let's begin. What is euthanasia? Did you know that euthanasia comes from ancient Greek words meaning good, and the word is eu, and thanatos meaning death. This is also called as mercy killing or assisted suicide. You know, in around 400 BC, the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, said, "I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked, nor suggest any such counsel." And then followed in 19th century, anti-euthanasia law was passed in the United States, and some doctors and some advocates also followed euthanasia. And would you believe, in our state, California, in 1977, they passed the law to legalize the living will. And then other states followed. As of 2008, we have 2 states in the United States who have legalized euthanasia. This is the state of Oregon and Washington. There are also 5 characteristics of euthanasia. We have euthanasia by consent, which we have voluntary, meaning there's a consent from the patient, and involuntary. From this characteristic, the proxy consent also falls in. The next one is euthanasia by means. There are 3 means of euthanasia: passive, non-actively, and active. Passive euthanasia is when the patient or the authorized decision maker just says that, go ahead, I am withholding taking any medication, any surgeries. The next one is the non-active euthanasia. This is a controversial one because this is when they withdrew the life support. But the most controversial one is active euthanasia. This is the way of using lethal substances or forces to end a life. The third characteristics, we have assisted suicide. This is a combination of voluntary and active euthanasia. There's another one called death blow or coup de grace. As the word, this is usually for war or in business. Does anybody of you have any pets? Maybe you know already what the last characteristic of euthanasia is. This is what we call animal euthanasia. So with these 5 characteristics, are you thinking whether it is about time to put your decision in your will since you live here in California? Or is it better to let your loved ones decide for your own life? There are different aspects that can affect your decision. In the next point, I will address the different issues that arises from different opposing views of the people. One of the major arguments about euthanasia is whether we should legalize euthanasia. Because is it equal to legalizing murder? The pro says euthanasia is different than murder. Everyone is looking on better aspects or outcome for both living and the patient's life. And the cons, those who are not in favor says, euthanasia is similar to murder because of the motivation that triggers to choose assisted death. All they want to cover up is their greediness. Is that really true? Well, the second argumentation that I want to discuss with you is, what is the physician's role? Is it to end life or to extend life? Those who are in favor, this says that the physician has a thorough background to figure out how long a patient's life can survive. And for those who are not in favor of euthanasia, says that, hey, the physicians has oath to save life, right? So why then they should participate in euthanasia? Last argumentation that I want to discuss with you is, should the government or immediate relatives really participate in euthanasia? You know, those who are in favor, this says that, wait a minute, the government abides the rule or sets the rule for everyone, right?
Hi.
So it will be easier to determine who is at fault. But wait, how about the immediate relatives who will be left behind? You think that's really good? That they will feel the suffering also even though they're not the patient? But wait, like what the con says, the physician has oath to save life, right? And not to end life. Just like what Hippocrates had said. Life preservation or less suffering should be a personal preference because there are different aspects to consider than legislation or someone else's misery. With this, some argumentation that I just discussed, even if we go on and on and on, everyone has been dealing with euthanasia, right? But in the end, we can say that euthanasia values life. Even if even if economic or morals or ethical, legislative were affected, life has to end. So, do we really take care of our lives so much? Can we stop death? Decision on taking one's life is hard to handle in modern society. So I hope that in this short speech, I extend some learning to have an open mind about euthanasia. If someone asks you, you will die today, are you ready? You have learned something about euthanasia. Thank you so much and have a good night.